Our speaker, Heather Dunn, Reverend Heather Dunn. Heather was ordained in 2013 from Universal Life Church. It has always been her heart's desire to be a teacher and impart unconditional love to all. Reverend Dunham lives here on the island with her spouse and their 2 fur babies. Heather grew up Christian, but her life journey has expanded to a much broader spectrum. She considers herself an old spiritual mystic and open to seeing God in all aspects. Her passions are people and making sure no harm is done, especially by religious institutions. Welcome, Heather.
So let me give you an example of what the path of delight is not. When your wife calls you at 7 in the morning and you really just want to sleep, and she says, honey, there's a screw in the tire. And then you have to go get it fixed and get ready for church and be on time. So that's not what the path of delight is, just to clear that up. So my printer is not working, so y'all bear with me as I have to do this a little bit different than what I usually do. So the topic is going to be the path of delight. And I was really excited about this topic because the path of delight that we find happens in so many different experiences. There's not one person who at one time or another has not experienced delight. It doesn't mean that it wasn't a long period of time. It could have been brief, it could have been a long time, but at one point we've all had that moment of delight. And it's been our reality at some point. So today, I would like to share with you guys some of the examples of other delights that we see and what lessons there are that there might be in there for us. And I do believe as spiritual beings having a human experience that this is pivotal and useful insight that helps us grow individually and as a community. So I'm going to start off with one story about a little boy and his father and how that experience changed the both of them. There was a boy whose father was very wealthy. And one day his father took him on a trip to the country where he aimed to show his son how poor people lived. So they arrived to a farm, a very poor family, the father considered, and they spent several days there on the farm. And on their return, the father asked his son, "Did you like the trip?" And the son replied, "Oh, it was great, Dad. Did you notice how poor people live?" And the father replied, "Yeah, I did." And the father asked his son to tell him more details about his impression from their trip. So the boy continued, "Well, for one example, Dad, we only have one dog, and they have 4 of them. And in our garden, there is a pool, but they have a river that has no end." Sorry, y'all, my computer's acting up. "We have expensive lanterns, but they have stars above their head at night. We have the patio, and they have the whole horizon. We have only a small piece of land, while they have endless fields. We buy food, but they grow it. We have a high fence for protection of our property, but they don't need it." As their friends protect them, their father was stunned. He was speechless. He could not say a word. Then the boy added, "Thank you, Dad, for letting me see how poor we are." This story shows that wealth cannot be measured by material things. Love, friendship, and freedom are far more valuable. That true wealth is as well as happiness are far more valuable and far more the true path of delight. Another example, an old man lived in a village. He was one of the most unfortunate people in the world. The whole village was tired of him, really tired of him. He was always gloomy, constantly complained, and always was in a bad mood. The longer he lived, the more vile he was becoming, and the more poisonous were his words. People avoided him because his misfortune became contagious. It was even unnatural and insulting to be happy next to him. I know people like that. He created the feeling of unhappiness in others. But one day, when he turned 80 years old, an incredible thing happened. Instantly, everyone heard the rumor. An old man is happy today. He does not complain about anything. He smiles, and even his face is freshened up. The whole village gathered. An old man was asked what happened to him. Nothing special, he answered. 80 years I've been chasing happiness, and it was useless. And then I just decided to live without happiness and just enjoy life, and that's why I'm happy. One definition of delight is a high degree of gratification or pleasure that we take great delight in. So let's explore a few different ways that we can put that into action. Delight can be our compass, a way to direct our steps, our vision with purpose and accomplishment. The first and the most way is starting from a place of gratitude. There are days when this isn't always easy or necessarily what we want to do. Sometimes the choices to choose between that we have aren't always the best ones either. Sometimes we must choose between the lesser of the two evils, to speak. A Christian artist, Lauren Dangle, has a song, and it has a lyric that I really enjoy. And the line reads, "Before I bring my need, I will bring my heart. Before I lift my cares, I will lift my arms." And I can relate to that because so many times I am my own obstacle to my path of delight. I get so caught up in what I'm lacking that I forget the simple joy of allowing myself to feel and to breathe and to be alive. That I have the capacity, the heart to experience not just darkness, but light and good and deep fulfillment. And by choosing to focus on what I already have, I can see my path more clearly. I can then get my compass to point me in the best direction. And then when I do bring my need, I can do so with peace in the middle of the storm. And that is a path of delight for me. Delight can help us stay in our present. I don't know if you can relate or not, but I hope you can. Sometimes I will get so caught up in my next to-do list, like this morning, and the surprise of a screw, or my next big sermon, or my next big Mother Earth save the world moment, that I really forget where I am. I will sometimes feel a sense of failure if I do not have my next big task already lined up and ready to go. I forget that I am here in the present for a purpose. I forget that by choosing to be so ahead in my future that I am missing what gifts are here with me now in my path of delight, and I miss the opportunities that are being given to me. For example, when I lived in Richmond with my ex, I became very close friends with one of my neighbors. Her name was Barbara. We were kindred spirits, and it was as if we had always been friends. We both loved tennis, and we would spend all day watching Wimbledon together at her place or mine. One day, as we were watching our tennis matches together, she told me that there was something that she needed to tell me. My friend went on to tell me that she had cancer, and that I was the first and the only person she had told. Even no one in her family knew. She went on to say that the reason she had shared this with me was because she knew my faith was strong, and that brought her comfort. If I had not allowed the present to be present, then I would have missed this. I would have missed another human being sharing her vulnerability and holding that sacred space with her. I believe if we stop and think about it, we can see where Spirit has placed us in those reality checks more than once. Delight can grow and reap more benefits. As we grow into this, we discover what it is that truly is our high degree of gratification or pleasure. We may often have more questions at first, as this may be new, but with the new questions come new answers. We adjust to more experiences that may lead us into experiencing new delight. Now, mistakes, I don't like mistakes. I'm a perfectionist, but I'm learning that mistakes will happen, and that's okay. That's why I grow. That's how we grow. And we have to let mistakes happen and try not to be so self-critical of ourselves when they do. Instead, look at it from another lens and see, what is it bringing you closer to? What if it all goes right? Often through our trials and our errors, we learn what it is that we're truly looking for. We allow it to be a teaching moment, and it can help us to know what it is keeping us from reaching our goals, our dreams, our inspirations. And we discover how to simplify our lives and get rid of unnecessary blockage that is killing us. We discover more of our authentic selves and become less concerned about what others think of us or what others think we should be. We can grow confidently into saying, what if it all goes right? Instead of, what if it all goes wrong? We become more grounded and we can focus on what we're attaining instead of losing. There is a clarity as we follow this path of delight that in the past was a bit clouded, and maybe we didn't trust it before. But an old Indian proverb says, what we starve dies and what we feed grows. I choose to feed delight. Delight can simmer. Have you ever been preparing for a vacation or maybe an old friend that you haven't seen in a while, and you get that nervous excitement? Perhaps you start to think about how wonderful it will be to see them again, the laughs that you will share, the plans that you will make, the stories that you will share from time and time together for years to come. It is in those simmering moments that have kept me going through some of my most challenging and undelightful parts of my life. Those in-between moments have allowed me to pay attention to what matters the most in my life. We discover our strength, we discover our tenacity, and we don't always have to jump from point A to point B immediately. We actually, I'm learning, can be a Folgers coffee brew and ease our way into it. And once we get there, it's better than we could have dreamed of or imagined. The best part of waking up is the delight in your simmer. Delight is a journey. It's not a destination. I'm a proud fur mama too, and I love my boy. And his name is Champ. And every day he lives this out for me. And I am a better human being because of Champ. It just literally does not matter how many times we go for the same walk, on the same path, on the same street. Champ is a creature of habit, but he's not a creature that is blind to journeys and delight. Every time we go out, it's the same flowers that he just sniffed 5 minutes ago. It's the same grass that he decided to fake pee and mark its territory. Yet Champ has no clue. To him, it's all new. It's all new, and it's all over again every single time. And I often wonder, if I went out and lived my life as a journey and not a destination, what would I discover for myself? Would I soak in every sunrise, every sunset, every wave that crashed against the rocks? What would I, like my son, discover along the way? What insights would I gain? What beauty would I see? How much more could I absorb the journey in its virginity? The first story, I think we can learn these lessons about the boy and the father. We get to define what our delight is for ourselves. The father had a premeditated thought of what his son would answer regarding the trip, and thus a premeditated answer of his son's delight. But that's not what happened. And that's why the father was so shocked and speechless. The boy found something that gave him such an attitude of gratitude and an appreciation for people that he just met over a few days. But it changed his life forever. And I don't think that he was ever the same. It brought him to a journey, not a destination. You see, the little boy saw all the little and the big things that happened while he was there on the farm. But his father, on the other hand, was focused on the destination and missed all the big and the little things. That's the difference between a journey and a destination. The second story that we can learn about delight is that it's never too late to change. We don't have to wait till we're 80 or later to begin to live in delight in the path. That regret is a far harsher sentence than is needed for our highest and greatest good. So today, we can choose which path to take, and the positive path outweighs the negative. There's always something new to discover, always. Like the man, we can resurrect what time we have lost and live a path that brings us closer to what we desire. The old man in the second story finally understood that when he stopped trying to reach a destination, a path of delight, when he stopped trying so hard to do that, he finally got to where he'd been trying to get for 80 years. So remember, don't try so hard, and you will get where you are going.